that's loud.
This episode is sponsored by Dashlane.
What? Did that hippo just attack a freaking lion? Wait a second, I'm not even paying attention here. Hippo don't give a shit, dude. Did you see that? Holy moly, boys. It's like, yum, it's like I'm a lion. Damn,
this episode
dude.
is sponsored by Dashlane.
It messed him up.
Africa, the game's hardcore server.
Hardcore
On
server?
top of the potentially lethal heat and disease debuffs, many of the most powerful builds in the game are playable only on the Africa server.
Oh yeah.
Everyone knows the
Oh yeah, so yeah, I think I watched a couple of videos for this channel here, man. He basically makes everything into like a video game server, like an MMO or something. It's pretty hilarious. Just put a banner on Discord general chat. Yeah, you guys go check it out.
big names. Elephants are the biggest, cheetahs are the fastest, cobras are the most venomous, etc.
Wait.
Elephants are the biggest, cheetahs are the fastest, cobras are the most venomous, etc. However, one of the builds that frequently gets overlooked is the hippopotamus.
That is true, man. Everybody overlooks the hippos, but they are the most deadliest animals in all of Africa. They're not the most, one of the most. They're the most. They kill more people than lions. Hippos, dude. You guys ever seen that gif or like the video of a dude running away from a hippo? That dude's probably dead. Yeah. Hippos are crazy.
Even though none of their stats are the best in a single category, there are things that they do better than anything
It's weird that they only have a couple of teeth. That's the crazy thing about it.
else. So today I'm going to give an
Wait a second,
overview
what
of a
the
single
frick is that?
category. There are things that they do better than
What is this? It's like an extra.
anything
Okay.
else. So today I'm going to give an overview of the hippopotamus's stats and abilities. Talk about it.
You can outrun a hippo, indeed. They run super or outswim it. They're like jet engines in the water as well.
Its good and bad matchups, and where I'd rate it in the overall tier list. I've already done one video that sort of touches on all these things, but since it was one of the first videos I ever made, it's pretty lacking in quality. So hopefully this guide will do a better job doing the
Alright,
topic
show us
justice.
what's going on with the hippos.
Anyway,
so.
without further ado, let's get into it. Hippos are the premier tank build of the African aquatic
Tank
meta.
build.
Their success comes from a combination of phenomenal stats and from speccing into abilities that allow for some pretty ingenious exploitation of the
I love these little animations. Look at this lion jumping at this
game's
hippo.
water physics, which I'll get into in a bit. But first, their
Water
stats.
physics.
So you probably notice that the hippo stats are, in a word, phenomenal.
Power and
They have
HP
one
and
of the highest
defense.
HP levels of any land build, second only to the elephant.
They even have stealth, man.
Normally, builds with one unusually high base stat
Wait,
tend to have
what did
second
he say?
only to the elephant. They have one of the highest HP levels of any land build,
They have highest HP, second only to freaking elephants, dude.
second only to the elephant. Normally, builds with one unusually high base stat tend to have major shortcomings in other areas, but the hippo simply doesn't. While its intelligence is only average, all the rest of their stats far outclass most other African
Hey, they're kind of on the stupid side.
builds.
Alright.
They have great damage, high defense, and even have great stealth for a build in such a high weight class. But perhaps the most surprising is their mobility level, which relates to how their abilities let them engage in physics engine exploits like I mentioned earlier.
Dude.
So in addition to having relatively high run speed on land, hippos are also unbelievably mobile in the water. Now, normally when designing your character to be fast in the water, you spec into traits like, you know, water mobility.
Yeah.
Things like a streamlined body, fins, flukes, webbed feet, all these things strictly buff water speed, and usually are the go-to for players trying to take their character to new depths in the aquatic meta. The hippo player base decided to do exactly
How do they swim this fast with the... How do they swim like this? This is the thing, right? This is what blew my mind when I saw that video about the hippo swimming like crazy. How do you do that? How do you do that? How? All right.
exactly none of that, instead dumping most of their evolution points into pure bulk and muscle. As a
Oh,
result,
yeah, man.
hippos
Bulk
are
it,
so
bulk
dense
it.
that, unlike most animals, they do not float. This lets them be one of the only builds that can actually use the run movement option underwater.
They run. Yeah, man. Fuck swimming, man. I'm just running.
With any success. So yeah, hippos, despite not actually being able to swim, have one of the best aquatic movement options in the game, and they didn't even have to spend any evolution points on aquatic mobility to do so.
It's just all
So,
about the
hippos
density.
have 4 signature abilities, the first being their water dash ability that I just explained. Their second ability is their 2-inch thick skin. This ability is the reason
2-inch
behind their
thick?
high defense level and
Where's my ruler? I have a ruler here somewhere. How big is 2 inch? Where is it? Somewhere around here, man. But yeah, man. Imagine if your skin is this thick, man. That's crazy, dude.
grants them some of the best resistances in the game, particularly
How
to
deadly
the
is the
common
hippo?
threats in
Yes.
the African
Yeah.
server. It grants them near total immunity to slash and bite type damage, since claws and teeth simply are too short to pierce their skin. This lets them shrug off the vast majority of standard attacks in the African map.
Yeah, they can't even pierce their skin, dude.
It's also
They-
crucial
Look at that. Don't give a shit,
for letting
dude.
them survive attacks even from groups of enemies, which is normally the answer to defeating a high HP target. Defending from physical attacks is important, but it's just as critical to make sure your elemental resistances are adequate too. Because hippos have spec'd into the hairless trait in order to minimize mobility debuffs in the water, they're highly
they are
vulnerable to
hairless.
solar damage.
Okay.
In order to mitigate this issue, hippos have spec'd into sweat that grants them UV resistance and, as an added bonus,
Their sweat
grants them
is
resistance
UV
to
resistance?
infection, another hugely beneficial trait
Look at that, man. This guy is messed up with lines, man. This is battle scars right here,
to
man.
have when you spend most of your time in unclean water, potentially with open wounds. The only downside is that while active, it gives the hippo players a reddish tint, temporarily lowering their stealth level.
Ah, so that's why they become pink. It's because of their sweat. Holy bejesus, man. I didn't know this.
Their last special trait is their tusks. Hippos haven't spec'd into carnivory or even omnivory. They're strictly herbivorous and can't gain any XP from meat.
Okay,
However,
so they don't
regardless
even
of this
eat
fact,
meat.
They have one of the most damaging bites in the game. On top
Damn,
of
dude.
the sheer force of the bite itself,
Look at that. He doesn't even give a shit, man. He's just like, whoop, just closing my mouth very gently.
which is around a ton, by the way. Their tusks
Wait,
do
what?
sheer force of the bite itself, which is around a ton, by the way. Their tusks
Oh, fuck, dude.
deal massive damage to anything they puncture.
Dude, that poor little kid, man.
But on top of the hippo's damage potential, their tusks offer another important benefit: intimidation. So the
Man, that little hippo does look like it doesn't even give a shit. No, I don't want to watch that again, man. That's traumatizing.
most effective intimidation techniques are the ones that can be quickly switched
Damn, dude. Oh my god, how can you bring up your lips all the way to the back to your face? Damn.
on and off. A coral snake's colors are always bright, and a spider is always creepy, but hippos aren't always terrifying. In fact, most of the time they appear non-threatening, yet in an instant they can crank up the intimidation to 100 just by opening their mouths. A hippo player with intimidation active is one
Yeah, look how big those fangs are, man. You don't want to get oh man, you don't want to get smashed up by that. No way,
of the
dude.
most intimidating things in the entire game, easily being able to scare off even some of the bulkiest builds like rhinos.
Well, let me
Okay,
bite
so
your
for
ass.
matchups, hippos sport one of the most comfortable matchup spreads possible. Because they're highly resistant to bite and slash attacks, most of the relevant predator matchups, such as crocodiles,
Look at that. Crocodiles they're like whatever. They don't even care about crocodiles, dude.
lions, hyenas, and painted dogs, are highly favorable for the hippo.
Look how big, like when he's angry. Look at how his mouth like spreads like that, man. It's nuts, dude.
On top of this, the hippo's own attacks can one-shot any of those predators. As for bad matchups, any builds that focus on stab-type weaponry can definitely
When they're angry, their mouth like shapes up real crazily,
give a
dude.
hippo a hard time. In particular, elephants and rhinos both have long enough horns or tusks to pierce the hippo's thick skin and deal critical damage to a hippo foolish enough to challenge them.
All right, so elephants and rhinos are
Fortunately, the rhino's low intelligence makes it highly susceptible to intimidate abilities,
yeah. So rhinos are they're not on the smartest levels. Like
so
they're
that matchup is
stupid.
by
They're
no
stupid.
means unwinnable. Elephants, though, they'll walk straight through a group of hippo players, knowing none of them will challenge it. Also, ironically,
Don't
one of the
even
worst
care.
matchups for a hippo is another hippo.
Oh yeah.
Since a hippo's tusks do have the potential to pierce their defenses. The last important matchup to discuss for them is how they fare against humans.
Oh, boy.
And in this regard, they've got one of the best records of all. Obviously, they still lose to the highly advanced equipment that humans have recently unlocked, but aside from that, humans don't have any way to combat them. As a result, hippos have the highest KD ratio versus humans
Yep.
in the entire game.
That's what I'm telling you, man. I get it as it is. Hippopotamus is the world's deadliest large land mammals, killing an estimated 500 people per year in Africa. 500 people is a year, dude. That's more than sharks. Hippos are aggressive creatures and they have very sharp teeth.
Even special high-level mounts, like boats and trucks, can be taken down by a hippo.
Shit,
So
dude.
where do hippos belong on the tier list? Well, considering how they're basically unstoppable tanks that manage to spec into an excellent semi-aquatic playstyle without sacrificing any land-based abilities to do so, it's tough to argue that they're anything but S tier. They easily control any rivers or lakes.
S tier, huh? What else is on S tier? Humans, cats. What is that? Bees, dolphins, crocodiles, dogs?
Argue that they're anything but S tier.
Dogs are S tier as well? A tier, crows, monkeys, gorillas. What is this? The sailfish, to the horny fish. All right, okay, lions and so on and so forth. The stupidest ones are koala bears. You should have put also pandas down here, man, because pandas are. Oh my god! Don't get me started on pandas.
They easily control any rivers or lakes that they're in, being even more dominant than crocodiles. In fact, while currently the vast majority
Common hippopotamus. Okay, so all these dotted areas where we can find hippos, huh? They're all over the place, man. Did I ever go to a country with hippos in them? No, I haven't traveled these lands. I didn't know they were in Ethiopia and Sudan, though. That's crazy. Somalia as well. Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania. Down here in Malawi. All right, they're not in Madagascar. Interesting. Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Swaziland. They're not really in South Africa. They are kind of in South Africa, aren't they? I don't know. Anyways, Botswana, Namibia, Angola. They're all over the place, basically. Republic of the Congo, the Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, and Cameroon. I didn't expect them to be here, though, man. I didn't expect them to be here next to Liberia, Ghana, yeah, and these other countries over here, man. That's pretty crazy.
of the Hippo player bases in the African server, a few of them have recently broken into the South American meta. Now, Hippos have one of the lower spawn rates in the game, so it'll be a while before we can really assess their viability in servers outside of Africa, but I would bet that eventually Hippos will be one of the most dominant builds in South America too.
Oh my god, they got them to South America, dude!
In the game. They broken into the South. Currently, the vast majority of the Hippo player bases in the African server. A few of them have recently broken into the South American meta.
Oh no, somebody
now,
got
Hippos
them
have
on
one of
that.
the lower spawn rates in the game.
They take 243 days to give a baby? Gestation period?
So it'll be a while
Like
before
almost
we
a
can
whole
really
year.
assess
Okay.
their viability in servers outside of Africa. But I
Almost
would
as
bet
much
that
as
eventually
humans.
Hippos will be one of the most dominant builds in South America too, especially since they have great matchups against the top tiers there too, like the Cayman and the Jaguar. The Piranha player base might give them a hard time though, so we'll have to
Domestic cats and dogs are escorts. They learn to live with top player in the game without being hunted. I guess it's smart, dude. Yeah, that's why they're so good, right? Because they're living with us humans, man.
wait and see.
We got their back.
Their thick hide offers a lot of protection.
They don't got to do shit, man. They just get fed and food and they just relax, man. Being a cat
But
is
with
awesome.
hundreds of bites chipping it away, even the hippo might struggle.
Where you going? I'm all
Protecting
right.
your
Good
hit
night.
points
Take
is
care.
critical
Take care.
to survival in the current meta, but perhaps equally
Pablo Escobar brought them to South America. Are you serious? Yeah. Are you serious? They are his, and after he was caught, they let them loose. Oh my god, man! Holy schmoly, boy! A Terraria, if you own the game, yeah, we could do Terraria.
important is protecting your passwords, and that's where today's sponsor Dashlane comes in. Dashlane is what I personally use
Take
to
care,
protect
Ramon.
my passwords and keep myself safe online, because it literally does
Just wait
everything.
until an official
It's
review
not
on
just a
2023,
password manager,
2024.
it's not just a VPN, it's not just a dark web monitoring service, it's all three. Everything you could possibly need to keep your internet defense level at its max.
Okay.
My favorite feature of Dashlane is how it autofills every online login form on every website, as well as autofilling payments for online checkouts. It does this
How
across
old is
all of my
this
devices.
video? I haven't
so
heard
I
about
never have trouble
Dashline
logging
in ages,
even
man.
though I use passwords that
This
are
video
really
is
tough to memorize and
2019.
easy
Yeah,
to
I
mess
haven't
up
heard
when
about
typing in.
Dashlane. I haven't seen
Not
an
only is
ad
Dashlane
for them in
secure,
ages.
but it makes my online life easier
But
all
there
the
you go,
time.
guys. If you want Dashlane,
Believe
go
me,
and
as
check
someone who's
that
forgotten
out.
passwords more than my fair share of times, it's saved
And
me countless headaches over the course of the
yeah,
past
let's
year.
give our boy
You can try
an
Dashlane
update.
for free by using the link in the description of this
Thumbs
video,
up here.
and you'll be supporting my content in doing so. And by using the code TIERZOO, you can even get 10%
And there you
off
go,
the
dude. That's the
premium
link for
membership.
the video.
Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, man, a very interesting video, man. It's good, some good stuff right there, man. If you guys watching on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.